Everyone told you the same story. The stars are just far, too far for now. One day, better engines, faster ships, we'll go. That story is wrong. Distance was never the problem. Distance is just a number, and numbers can be beaten. What's keeping us here is a cage, a real one, made of physics. It has 4 walls, and the 4th one is the one nobody talks about. Wall number 1 is the price of moving. Rockets have a cruel secret. Fuel has weight. So you need fuel to carry your fuel day, which means more fuel again. Engineers call it the tyranny of the rocket equation. It isn't an engineering problem, it's mathematics itself saying no. Only once has a team of engineers finished a complete, serious design for an interstellar ship. The British Interplanetary Society, Project Daedalus, 5 years of work. The ship worked on paper. Here's what it worked required: 50,000 tons of fuel. Not gasoline and helium-3, a substance so rare on Earth that we measure our reserves in kilograms. Their solution? Mine Jupiter. Float factories in its atmosphere for 20 years. To fuel one single ship, that would not stop, could not slow down, and would spend a few hours photographing Barnard's star before drifting on forever. And the perfect fuel. Antimatter? At today's production rates, we make nanograms per year. Listen to this part carefully because the exact figures vary. This is an estimate. 1 gram would cost tens of trillions of dollars and centuries of production. The universe sells the ticket. It just prices it at everything we have. Wall number 2 is the road itself. We say space is empty. It isn't. Every cubic centimeter holds a few stray atoms, and here and there, a grain of dust smaller than a period on a page. Harmless, at our speeds. But physics keeps score with velocity squared. At 20% of light speed, the speed we'd need to reach another star within a lifetime, a single millimeter-sized grain hits like an explosive shell. Researchers ran the numbers for Breakthrough Starshot, the project that wants to send gram-sized probes to Alpha Centauri. The ordinary gas and dust between stars would sand the ship down, millimeter by millimeter, the entire way. At that speed, even hydrogen atoms stop being atoms and become radiation. This is not theory. This is an aluminum panel that spent 5 years in orbit, our own backyard at gentle orbital speeds. Every crater is a speck of dust. Now multiply the speed by 1,000. So even if we could pay for the ticket, the road itself shoots back. That's wall number 2. Wall number 3 is time. Voyager 1 is the fastest thing our species has ever thrown into the dark. 17 kilometers every second for 48 years without a single day off. This is what Voyager saw when it looked back. Every human who ever lived on a fraction of a pixel. It has been falling through the dark ever since. And after half a century at record speed, its next appointment is in 40,000 years. And even then, it will only pass within 1.6 light-years of a small red star called Gliese 445. If the sun were a coin on a table in one city, Proxima Centauri would be a coin in another city entirely. Voyager has walked a few blocks, so we imagine the obvious fix. Bring the whole village, a generation ship. People are born, live, and die on board, and their great-great-grandchildren arrive. It sounds poetic until you do the biology. In 2018, 2 researchers, an astrophysicist and a particle physicist, computed the minimum crew for a 63-century voyage to Proxima b. The answer was exact: 98 people. 1 fewer, and inbreeding slowly folds the colony in on itself somewhere in the dark, centuries from any shore. And here is the trap inside the trap. If we launched tomorrow, a ship built 50 years later would overtake it mid-journey, which means the rational move is always to wait. Engineers call it the incessant obsolescence postulate. We've been rationally waiting for 60 years. But the fourth wall is the one that gets me. Because it's not about getting there. It's about ever being heard again. Voyager's transmitter runs on 20 watts, the light bulb inside your refrigerator. By the time that whisper crosses to Earth, it arrives at a fraction of a billionth of a watt. We hear it only because we point dishes the size of buildings at exactly the right spot in the sky. Now stretch that to a real starship, a light year out. Every question takes a year to arrive, every answer another year, and the signal itself fades toward nothing. Whoever leaves doesn't just leave Earth, they leave the conversation. The cage's fourth wall is silence. And if you're thinking, fine, 4 walls, but walls have tops, just go up, out of the plane of the solar system, straight into open sky. Here's the detail almost nobody knows. We can't. Going up costs so much energy that when we sent one probe, Ulysses 1990, to look at the sun's poles, we couldn't aim it up from Earth. We had to fly it all the way to Jupiter and let Jupiter throw it. We live inside a disk, and the disk is the only door. The cage has a lid. One more thing. And I'll say it clearly. This next part is where confirmed physics shades into projection. The universe's expansion is accelerating. Run that forward, and galaxy after galaxy crosses a horizon beyond which no ship, even one riding light itself, can ever reach them. If the standard model of cosmology holds, the library is burning while we stand at the door counting our coins. So is that it? Are we just inmates? Not quite. Because there's one door the physics actually leaves open. And it's not a ship, it's a telescope. 550 times farther from the sun than Earth, gravity itself bends starlight into focus. Park a telescope there, and the sun becomes a lens the size of a star. We could map the continents of a planet 10 light years away, without ever leaving the cage. No human object has traveled even a third of the way to that point. But it's reachable. Decades, not millennia. The first real photograph of another world's oceans might be taken from inside our own backyard. We were never going to break out by pushing harder on the bars, but we might, just might, learn everything about what's outside before we ever touch it. The cage is real, 4 walls and a lid. The door is real too. If this is the kind of story you want more of, the ones the space channels don't draw, you know what to do.